Oh, if you found this video, I hope it's because you're like me, you're new to playing Warhammer or relatively new, and you're looking to improve and maybe find ways to help you play a little bit faster so that you can keep up with people that you've been playing against. Um, yeah, so a little bit about myself. I started playing Warhammer 40K about just over a year ago. And as you can probably tell from some of the minis that you're looking at now, I started off with the Leagues of Votan. And yeah, I personally found it a little bit difficult to play initially. And I thought that some of the rules were fine, but remembering the order and the sequence of things and how and when to use the weapon abilities. I spent more of my time trying to figure this out at the start, rather than trying to actually understand, what's my strategy, what unit should I pick, and how should I use them best, depending on who I'm going to play against. So that basically led to me working on an app called Plasma Rifle. So that's what I'm going to show to you a little bit today, and also how that works and how it can hopefully help you to improve how you currently play. So yeah, so let's take a quick look just at some of the things that I have in front of me. So I'm using an iPad mostly because it's easier to show two screens at once, but obviously I don't expect everyone to have an iPad, so a phone will also be fine. Um, so I think the best way to play is to have the official Warhammer 40K app, or indeed to have your codex or your index cards as well. Uh, for example, the cards there. So what this actually does, it doesn't necessarily replace the official app. Instead, it's something that you can use with it in tandem. Um, so in terms, the first thing to think about is all of the units that you're going to have. So I'll talk about a couple of those. We can go through a little bit of a small battle. So first of all, the thing to understand is the units themselves. So what you need to do in order to play using the Plasma Rifle app is to get your army into there, which means add in your units. So you can add these manually. You can just hit add, add the name of the unit, the points cost, the faction, the the models, and then the weapons. And if that seems like a daunting task, I personally think it's not too big a task, especially if you're quite into it. Sometimes looking at the stats and entering them manually is a good way to memorize them, because that's probably going to be the best way to play quickly. But if you don't want to do that, you can also use Battle Scribe and import plain text. Just make sure you export it with all of those stats included in the export, and have four space indents, and then it will work fine. So that's just this one. So import uh, Battlescribe, and then it'll import all the units. Then next, create your army. So then all of those units, just add them into one army. You can obviously have as many armies as you want. Maybe you want to play with small number units or a large number of units. So once you have all of that ready, you can also share that with your friends. So once they've created their army using the Plasma Rifle app, they can export it, share with you, and vice versa. And then you're ready to play against each other. So what does that look like? Um, so as I mentioned briefly, the Plasma Rifle app focuses primarily on the shooting and fighting phase. If you're not, if you need a quick reminder of how the battle round goes, so you've got your command phase, you've got your movement phase, then you've got your shooting phase, your charge phase, and then your fight phase. Um, Charge phase is pretty self-explanatory, so the most of the complexity is within the shooting and fight phase, I think. Um, so what this app doesn't tackle is specifically anything to do with the mission cards, so treat those separately. This is to help speed up your game in terms of shooting and fighting, and then whatever other ways you can deal with that, I suggest to do those separately. But also, you've got the official app to help you there as well. So yeah, so just another quick one before we start shooting each other. just want to look at command points. So again, it's pretty handy to have a way of tracking your command points. Some people use dice, some people use the pen and paper, but if you want to use the app, you can also use this as well. So as you accumulate them, as you lose them, there's also a handy log there as well in case you did miss something. It's quite easy to keep track of. And then if you leave and then go back in again, it will remember. So just reset it when you're done. You've also got quick dice. So if you need to do a quick D6 roll, maybe four dice, D6 or D3, you can roll those and then you'll have those as well. Cool. All right, so let's jump into a quick battle. So as you can tell, the table I've set up here isn't a full setup. It's more just for this video, just so you get a quick example. So we've got an objective marker. Let's just say we've got two factions of space dwarves trying to take over some planet and get some minerals for themselves. So yeah, I've just have the one army for today for this purpose. So let's say two warring factions of dwarves, very angry with each other, both in each other's books. Um, so yeah, so next, let's kick off some shooting. So as you can see, they're all pretty close to each other. Don't need to worry about command points or movement or anything like that. We're just going to go straight into the shooting, which I think this is where the app is going to be helpful for you. So I'm just going to load this up. So hopefully you can see this. So basically you've got two armies already added. You can add more. So these are both the Votan armies that I've already set up for this purpose. So I'm just going to hit to battle and then they're ready to go. So, okay, so who's going to shoot first? So it's a good question. So who can we see in front of us in terms of WYSIWYG? So we've got the champion, and we've got the Hekachonka. I think maybe that's a good match just to start this off. So I'm going to tap the champion. And we're not quite in the close quarters range for fighting yet. So let's go straight into shooting. Hopefully there's enough distance there. As I say, it's more for demo purposes. It looks more than 2 inches away, I think. And then for the units that he's going to be attacking is the Hekachonka, so the Hecaton Land Fortress. As I said, I've added all of these in manually, but you can add them in using Battle Scribe. Pretty soon we'll have new recruit ready to use there as well, so you can just import those if you've already got those set up. Unfortunately, it doesn't accept imports from the official app yet, but if we figure out a way to do that, we will do that. Cool. So now we're ready to start the attack. So I've already selected the weapon. So in this case, the champion only has one ranged weapon. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack. Now, just to quickly call this out, you can use physical dice if you want. I've got my official dice tray here as well. So if you do prefer to use physical dice, you can still use the app for this. And all you simply do, there's an action at the top that says skip, and you can use that. Now, you probably think, well, what's the point then? Well, good question. So, what this app does, because I've already added in all of the weapons and the stats, you can see that the number of attacks is here, and the ballistic strength is in there as well, which means that straight away I can come in, I can see that okay, I'm hitting on twos. Now that's not the hardest thing to figure out, but it does come up with a bunch of other features as well. So this is quite a simple one. Um, it does all have all of the dice rolls built into the app as well. But like I said, if you want to use physical dice, you can. But for this, we're going to use the digital dice. The random does seem to be legit. If not, leave some comments. Let me know if you think they're not random enough. Well, I'm happy to share some of the logic in terms of how the dice rolls have been created. But let's just go ahead and roll. Okay, now if you look at that, you probably think, yeah, this doesn't look legit. 4 out of 4 hits, that never happens. But they are hitting on two, so I'm pretty sure that's fine. You can see the breakdown there. So we've got 1, 5, two fours, and 1, 2. So pretty simple. We can go straight through to the wound, but just a quick points as well. So let's say one of the things I've experienced when I play people, sometimes I want to know more about their units. Like what's their toughness, and sometimes I actually want to see it. So I always bring my cards with me, let people see. But having this app, that makes it so much quicker because having minis everywhere, especially in the 2K or 3K battle, the board's pretty heavily loaded. There's not a lot of space to work with at times, and then having cards everywhere, it's a bit of a pain. I don't know if you've noticed that. So having an app makes that so much easier. But what I do suggest as well, if you're not sure, always check on the official app if you just want to double check something. And then once you've got it into the Plasma Rifle app, you should be able to trust that. But if not, they're always quick to check as well. That's why you have them at the top here. And if you also want to check out movement, for example, on the champion, just tap the card and then it shows you the model stats as well. Okay, so just a quick one. So we've got the champion up here as well. So let's say you've got your mobile phone, you're switching from one app to another. It is pretty easy to do. If you just want to double check, the stats on the weapon, and as you can see, they both match up there as well. So yeah, ballistic strength 2, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Yeah, cool, cool. Okay, so we're ready to go into the wound. So again, no weapon abilities or anything that we need to consider here as well. But what is important is strength 4 versus toughness 12. So a handy thing in the app, so you don't need to figure any of this out while you're playing, especially if you're new and you're not, still trying to memorize all those stats. Let's be honest, there's a lot of them. Especially if you're like me, when you first make your first army, you pick every unit that you can find, which means and every weapon, which means that's a lot of stats to try and memorize. Most competitive players will keep their lists way simpler, and in hindsight, it's clear to see why. But if you've already built your army, then something like this might be pretty helpful. Okay, so you can see here that's wounded on sixes. I'm not using judgment tokens for this, but I do have some about if we need them somewhere. Yeah, in my box. This box from the ninth edition that come in handy for carrying judgment tokens. Okay. Um, that was actually a pretty good buy as well. I managed to get this when 10th was out, but I saved a lot by buying a ninth edition box with a bunch of cool stuff in it, so that was cool. Okay, so let's do the wound roll. Okay, so as you can see, so both of these have failed. So all four attacks have failed. So 0 to 4 wounds. Now, if you, depending on your detachment, maybe you have re-rolls in there, depending on which character as well. But let's just say for this, we're not going to do re-rolls. But just to show you that it does work in the app. So let's just say we want to re-roll the ones. We just tap the ones and then hit re-roll. And yeah, and it's still a fail. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit end attack because it's over. Now, something I want to show to you really quickly as well. So that last attack there, that's gone into the battle log, and you can see who the armies were, who the units were. So you can see the champion with the combi bolter. You can see a breakdown of his attacks. So four attacks, and then you can also see that there was. Yeah, no wounds. We tried to re-roll the ones, but that didn't work as well. So there's a breakdown of this as well. Cool. All right. So let's go back again. We can go back in here. Um, so we're going to start another attack. So this time, let's try something with something a bit more fun. So these guys here, these are the half guard. They have the let's see if I can find them. Yeah, they have the disintegrators. So deep strike with champion. Yeah. So something else as well. So I like to. You can do whatever you want, of course, but I like to label my units so I remember who's with who. So, for example, these this is my deep striking unit who are all together, so I can say who's with who. You can manually also add the champion just to this unit if you want to do it that way, but I just keep them separate. Maybe in the future I'll find a way of linking them together. I think that's quite handy as well. Something I haven't seen a lot of apps do. If you have seen any that do that, let me know in the comments. Anyway, okay, cool. So. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to fire our disintegrators. Um, they're not all on camera, but let's just say, for argument's sake, there are 10 of them. So that means there's 10 of these disintegrators I can fire, and I'm going to fire them at the Hecton Land Fortress. Um, so the disintegrators have devastating wounds. Let's just say we're going to add sustained hits for this attack. Let's go sustained hits 2. Why sustained hits two? Because let's just say this has two judgment tokens on it, and you get not only plus one for hit, plus one for wound, but also if you have the stratagem that gives sustained hits uh, for this phase, then you would then get sustained hits two instead of one because that's two judgment tokens. Let's go ahead and put a token on just so it makes it clear. All right, cool. Um, so now we're going to hit attack. So in the app, you can see that we have 10 weapons, which gives us a total of 30 attacks. Uh, so as you can see as well in the weapon abilities, we've got devastating wounds, which will come next, and also sustained hits too. Now all of this is all figured out for us in the app. We can see when sustained hits is applied, so it's on for the attack when we're trying to figure out how many attacks and the number for the hit roll. Okay, so we can see we've got 30 attacks, so let's go ahead and add plus one to hit because judgment token two. We're going to hit roll. Okay, so we've got 26 out of 30 hits. Two of them were critical hits, so two sixes, which gives us a total of 30 hits. So 26 plus four gives us 30. Okay, so we're going to go to the wound. Okay, so we're going to do plus one to wound, so wounded on fives, because it's yeah, the toughness is double the strength. And we've got devastating wounds. Now we can see there's a prompt there to remind us, so we can go ahead and hit roll. Okay, so we can see 16, so almost half of them, but we've got seven devastating wounds, so that's pretty awesome. Um, so even though we've got all the failed wounds, those are going to be more important because those can't be saved. So let's go ahead to the save. So this is now when the Hekachonka is going to try and save those attacks. So we can see already, yeah, those cannot be saved, so it's quite clear to us. Now we can do the save roll, saving on twos, but there's still, so even though there was four successful saves, oh sorry, five, um, we can see that there's still 11 damage to inflict, which is pretty decent. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So if you've got a dice or something, or maybe you've got some other kind of marker, if you can get hold of them, they're sometimes pretty tricky to get hold of, which is a pain. So yeah, so we've got the dice here. So we can see, so straight away we've got 16 wounds for the Hekachonka, and that there's five remaining. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a five there. Remember that. It's good to have multiple types of physical dice as well, so you can differentiate between the ones that you're rolling and the ones that you mark them with. But in this case, we only need one because we've got the app to do our rolls for us. Okay, now, so two things. We can complete the attack there, or we can go ahead and fire another weapon. So it's quite easy to just do this as well. So just close these down and go back here. And then if you want to keep the sustained hits ability, you can. So let's change the weapon. Yeah. So now we've got our grenades. These are going to be quite a lot when you think about it. You can see now that we've got we have the grenade launcher with sustained hits because we still have those for this shooting phase. We're going to go ahead and hit attack. So you can see that we've got blast. This doesn't do anything because um, you need more than five for five models. So there's only one model, so that doesn't take effect. But we still see the reminder there. So indeed, if there were more than five or 10, then we would know that it applies at this step. So no blast bonus. If there was, we could manually add that. But the app, if it knows how many models, if you've entered it correctly into the app, it will actually calculate that for you as well. Not that it's hard to count five or 10. It's just nice to have, I think. Okay, so we've got a D6 to roll for the 10 grenade launchers. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Now, if you want to do that with physical dice, it's quite a pain, especially considering that grenades tend to do nothing, especially something like this. So having an app to automate that is pretty handy, I think. So we've got 25 attacks in total. Um, so hitting on twos again. So hit roll. So 20 out of 25. Um, and we've also still got the sustained hit 2 in there as well. So that gives us an additional 12, which gives us 32, which is pretty decent. Okay. So on the wound, now this is the part where the grenades are going to fail probably. So okay, we've got +1 to wound because of the judgment tokens of 2. So hit roll. Okay, so now we've only got 9, the expected. And now when we go to save it on twos, saved all of them. Now, I don't know about you, but I see that quite a lot with grenades. So sometimes you can probably just ask yourself, do I want to bother? But if they do 1 or 2 damage, it's always worth it. But now hopefully you can do it a little bit quicker with the app. Um, so that's all of the attacks for these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and hit end attack. Um, Now, if you do have 2 different armies, you can hit switch armies if you want to play on one device, or if you've got two. I think it's best to have two, so you and your opponent or friend, however, um, you can have your own apps respectively and just load up each other's armies. Like I said, you can import them if you go to profile and then armies. Okay, so to showcase some of the complexity that can be solved with the Plasma Rifle app to help you play a little bit faster, let's take a look at some more complex weapon abilities that I think might be useful. So I'm going to pick the Thunderkin with the Graviton Blast because it has anti-vehicle. And then I have a different list now which has more units in it. So there's the Sagi in this one. Um, okay, cool. So now, so let's try and chain up a few attacks. I'm not going to talk about specific stratagems. I'll let you do your research there. Um, but for argument's sake, I'm going to also add for this uh, attack, devastating wounds and sustain hits D3 to show you some of the things you can do. Though obviously you only do this if it's complies with the rules and your stratagems. I'm just doing this for demo purposes. But these are legit, they're pretty sure you'll find stratagems where you can do a lot of these things. Or you've got like the Carl, for example, gives lethal hits if he's attached to a unit and so forth. So do read your special abilities for each of your units and your stratagems. And of course, you've got the official app to help you do that as well. Let's open that back up again. Just going to open some data sheets so we can see them. Um, let's open the Hacker. Something nice to look at. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and hit attack. So in this case, we've got the Thunderkin, which I'm going to say to these guys, they look like they're a little bit further away. So hopefully they get the conversion. Sorry, not the conversion, the anti-vehicle. Yeah, it doesn't apply. Um, anyway, ignore that. So yeah, so we've got the Thunderkin over here. You can't really see them. There's a couple of these guys a little bit closer, but so that's got some at the back as well. Um, so they've got the Graviton Blast. These guys have got conversion beamers. Let's bring them closer so you can see them. So yeah, so let's go ahead and use this on the Sagi. Now, in this case, yeah, again, it's blast. So, but unfortunately, it's only one model, so there's no bonus there. We've got 6 weapons in total because, yeah, it's a fully loaded unit of the Thunderkin. So I'm going to go ahead and hit roll. Uh, okay, now we can see we've got 21 attacks, which is pretty cool. Should we put judgment tokens on it just for the hell of it? Sure, why not? So yeah, let's put a 2 on the Sagi there so you can see that as well. All right. So +1 to hit. Let's do a roll. Okay. So we can see we've got 14 out of 21, but we did get 3 critical hits as well. So now we get to roll a d3 for all of those. So let's see what happens there. Okay. So we've got a 1, a 2, and a 1. That gives us 4, which gives us 14 plus 4 equals 18. So we've got all the breakdowns there. Now that's pretty quick to go through all of that. Some of the more experienced players will do it just as quick, if not quicker. But it's quite nice to have that all done for you, I think. Okay, so as before, I told you that I've temporarily added this weapon ability, which is devastating wounds, which doesn't come out of the box, neither does the sustained hits. So he's pretty OP right now. So, like I said, figure out a way to do that using your own stratagems and abilities. In this case, is a vehicle. Now, because of this anti-vehicle, it gives us this toggle. So it just asks us, because the app isn't going to know. It's not that advanced. It doesn't know if it is a vehicle or not, but it will at some point. We'll get there. But for now, you can just go ahead and hit that toggle. Pretty easy. Um, and then, okay, so we've got wounded on six now, but because we've got anti-vehicle two, which means this is actually got a wound on a two now, which is great. And also, because we've combined it with devastating wounds, watch what happens now. I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus one because he's got two judgment tokens, but it won't make a difference because he's wounded on twos anyway. So I'm going to hit the wound roll. Now, what you can see the difference here, because we have this anti-vehicle, which turns anything into a critical. Now, if you can find a way to combine that with something awesome like devastating wounds, you're going to do a hell of a lot of damage. You might not be able to with Votan, but I'm pretty sure there's other armies out there where you can do all kinds of cool stuff. We've also got one that missed, which I think we're fine with. Oh, sorry, seven that missed, seven ones that missed. Should we re-roll them just for the hell of it? Yeah, sure, why not? It's demo purposes, so we can just try and maximize the damage here. Okay, cool. So now we've got 17 devastating wounds, which means I'm pretty sure that means the Sagi is completely dead. But let's just go ahead and go along with it anyway. So as you can see on the save, 17 cannot be saved. So that's 17 damage to inflict. Um, we don't need to worry about anything there, so we're just going to go ahead straight to the damage and see what is the damage. Yeah, so it's actually a total of 34, which means it's completely destroyed. So let's go ahead and hit complete attack. And there we go. Now, if we go into the log, if you want to go through and check any of this again, you've got full accountability there. All of this has been um, saved in the log. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. Um, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share this video. This is probably one of the first, but hopefully not last videos. I'm going to try and get it better set up, so maybe you can see some of those roles a little bit easier. Have maybe a decent battle round to look at, so it's less demo based and more realistic, so we can actually go through some real stratagems and abilities there. But like I said, do use this in tandem with the real app. And yeah, so if you do like the video, hit the like and subscribe, all of that stuff. But also, more importantly, if you think this is useful for you, let us know. If you also think it's not for you, then yeah, let us know. If you think you know someone who it might be useful for, I think that would be awesome if you could recommend it because yeah, we've all been used trying to start off. I've been playing for a year. I genuinely need this to help me play. I'm not gonna lie. Until I learn all of my stats, I will do one day, but. I haven't yet, so that's why I thought it would be much easier to build an app rather than bother to learn the stats. But hey, that's more about me, less about you, I suppose. But yeah, if you do like this, I'll definitely try and invest more time and effort into making it a little bit more engaging, a little bit of a better setup. So let's see how we get on. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, good luck. Hopefully, this was useful for you. If not, hope you enjoyed just watching anyway. Cheers, thanks, bye.